Martin County's Heritage Station.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the program host and guest and are not necessarily those of this station, management, staff, and sponsors. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time now for the Crown Car Care Show. Call in with questions and comments, 220-9788, 220-WSTU. Now, here's your host.
Fabulous. Good afternoon, Frank. It's
Hey,
a
good to
beautiful
see you.
day to be alive.
Nice shirt.
It's red,
Yes.
like your microphone.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm so glad to be here. I came in at the nick of time. I was held up. I had to sign a couple autographs as I was coming in with our spectators and our fans.
Yes.
I was not late, but I was just perfect time.
You were waylaid.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you got to give to the audience and give to the crowd.
Absolutely.
People that want your autograph and stuff. You got
Sure.
to give it to them.
Well, we had that incredible interview with Greg Kelly and perhaps another one coming up.
I've heard the rumor mill is that he's coming down
He's coming
for a
down
live interview.
to the Sunshine State. And yes.
Well, he'll be coming to world headquarters.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yes.
Oh, well, it'll piece together, I hope. And then last week we drove a Rivian.
We did.
That's a nice car.
How about Fisker?
We got to drive one.
So that's going to be a bit of a problem.
Why is that? Where are they at?
Well, so I went online, as you do.
Tell me about it.
And I went to their website. It says, find a test drive location near you.
All righty.
All right. So I clicked on that. And then it says, select the state that you are in.
That's Florida.
Right. So,
World headquarters.
So we'll select Florida. And there it is. And then we select search.
Yes.
Okay. And working. And it says, we do not currently have a test drive location in your area.
You would think Florida would
So
be a
my
good market.
my area is not Martin County. It's not South Florida. It's the state of Florida.
Yes. And they have nothing.
No,
I would think either in Miami or Orlando, you would have something.
you would think.
And, Fisker, it's not a checkered past, but there's a past. It's been bought and sold once or twice, if I'm not mistaken. Originally, it was not an electric car, or was it? It originally was, and the rights of it were sold, and it came out as another model, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
The owner of it now is not who originally started it. That I know is a
But
fact.
it is 100% electric.
Yeah, it's 100% electric. It's a beautiful car.
Yeah.
Has a very Coke bottle-ish design to it. It's
Okay.
flowing and long and low, but at the same time has some good lines to it. Good
Yeah.
car, big car. I think it's fairly big.
Yeah.
I don't know what the range is of it.
About 366 miles.
That's a fair amount of range.
That's now they don't tell you what the low package is. That's if you buy the
Oh, and we learned last week with Rivian that they offer the extended, but with our guest, he did not have he was unable to get the extended. But with Tesla, extended range is nothing more than a software package. It's the same battery.
Yeah.
It
Right.
is.
They
Same
just
battery.
just unlock.
They
more,
unlock it.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
isn't it? Well, and I think he learned that from the iPhone people.
Yes. Yeah. A reoccurring revenue even after the sale. Right. And that's interesting. I was looking at a car today in a magazine, and the name of the article is Bobby's Angel. And it's a 1976 Cobra 2 Mustang.
All right.
Now, does anybody
Wow.
I'm going to hold it up to our cameras here. Does
Whoa.
anybody remember who
Bobby's
drove that
Angel.
car? Who drove that car? Angel is the key word.
Yeah.
Was it Bobby or was it Charlie?
Charlie's Angels, huh?
Who drove that?
Oh.
Farrah
Fawcett, huh?
Major.
Yes.
I think that was her
Lee Majors was
Wife.
her husband.
Yeah, he was a $6 million man.
Yeah.
That's what he has to pay on an annual basis to keep her.
You.
That's why it was $6 million.
Yes, I think so.
This car was interesting. Some facts on it I did not know. Now the Mustang 2. Mustang 2 is We had an oil crisis in 1973. If anyone remembers, I certainly do, and I know you do as well.
Yeah,
I was pumping gas.
Yeah.
Prices went up, and supply really went down. It wasn't just pricing going up. And like right now, we have inflation, but there doesn't really seem to be a supply issue with gasoline. At least I haven't seen it. Have
Correct.
you?
No.
Right. So it's just pricing.
Right.
Then it was both.
Right.
We had a true supply issue. And Ford's answer to it was a smaller Mustang called the Mustang II. Okay. Came out in 74.
So smaller engine.
Smaller engine. Now, this little jewel was an upgrade option. And I think what the two interesting takeaways from this article were it was $325. That's it. To get the full out exterior package with the rims and tires and wheels and the louver and the stripes and everything. $325 for the upgrade.
Wow. Worth every penny.
Yeah. And the upgrade was not done in-house at Ford. It was done by a company called Jim Wanger's Motortown. And it was the Mustang IIs were shipped over there, still sold through Ford. It was a Ford package, but it was actually done by an outside outfit. Interesting.
Yeah.
Not too many times they've done
Did
it.
the finishing touches. Yeah.
They sold, because of Charlie's Angels, they sold 5 times as many Cobras as they intended to, or at least they had planned on.
Yeah.
25,259 is how many they sold, the Cobra 2s.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that even in today's numbers, with
Right.
that's a lot of one model,
Right.
especially an addition of a model, because that's what we're talking about here.
Right,
It's an
right.
addition of the Mustang 2.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them were white. They did have other colors, and there was 2 engine options. The standard motor was a 90 horsepower.
Oh my God.
90 horsepower,
It's like a hamster wheel.
2.8 V6.
Woo.
V6.
Yeah.
That's a German motor, actually, from Ford. Solid lifters. You show you how to adjust the valves on them.
Mm.
The V8 was a 302.
Okay.
Okay, 302.
I know I had one though.
139 horsepower. It had up from the 90.
Yeah.
So now we're talking 300s and 400s of horsepower. Even on four cylinders are 300-400.
Right.
It's just hard for me to. Wasn't that? It's just not much.
Right.
Not much at all, Frank. How did it get out of its own way? Huh?
Right. Yeah. I know.
Just a beautiful car, though. I kind of like it. I used to not like him, but now I see it. I like it.
Yeah. It's got classic lines, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
I will tell you another bit of information I read today, Frank, that was very interesting, and it's kind of upsetting. I think some Tesla people is Hertz is getting rid of all their Teslas and they're selling them at fire sale prices, like 20 or 30,000 of them.
Wow.
It's just in the news today. Some of them they're going for like 25,000 or 30,000 for.
Oh wow.
Which is
great.
Way cheap.
Dirt cheap. Yeah.
Still
and these are Model 3s, right?
And Ys.
And Ys.
Yeah, Model 3 and Ys. The Model 3 has a battery pack warranty up to 130,000. Most of these vehicles have 70 or 80,000 on them. So you still have warranty, but that's really good. With that volume of, I'm going to use the word dumping onto the used car market, it's really going to affect the resale values of other people's cars.
I think so.
It's going to lower it.
Oh, of course.
And maybe it should. I think with some lower pricing on the Teslas, I think we can get more people in them. I do. Because,
well, there's the new Model 2s coming out. Have you seen the Model 2?
No, I haven't.
Ooh.
But I'm going to tell you something about Teslas. The second week of February, Frank, I won't be here for the radio show. Oh, I'm going to call in from my training.
Yes.
Listening audience, I'm going to be trained and certified for a week. I'm going up to some intense training on Teslas. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I'm going to call you from up there.
I want to be a fly on the wall.
Oh, yeah. I'll ask a lot of questions. Yeah. Maybe Elon will be there. Greeting us, maybe. He'll sign my certificate.
If he's not too busy with SpaceX and some of the other things he's doing.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear they launched we were actually sending a lunar lander and they ran into snafus, I believe.
They did.
What happened? Do you know anything about that?
Yep, I do. I just happened to read a little bit about it earlier today. Oh. So the vehicle left without incident. It brand new rocket.
Yes.
The Vulcan rocket.
And
but shortly after it embarked on its way, it encountered problems. and there's actually an onboard camera on the vehicle. So they took a picture, and it looks like the thing got beat up. So, and there's a leak. So they're using a lot of the fuel. They're leaking fuel, and they're using an inordinate amount of fuel to on the thrusters.
But something happened to the exterior of the.
Yeah.
Well, you don't think it
banged
could
into
be?
something.
What about Tom Hanks was in a movie? It was what was that one?
Apollo 13.
You don't think it was that panel still floating around out there, do you?
Could have
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It could have hit it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it was an asteroid. I think it was a piece of metal.
Well, could have been space debris. There's no doubt about there's stuff out there.
Oh, there is. Have you ever seen a mapping of all the satellites that are up?
Wow.
You
Yeah.
can hardly find any open space to get up there anymore.
Yeah, you got to thread the needle now.
You do. And maybe they didn't thread it quite good enough. And Vulcan, by the way, is, I believe, a Greek god.
Yeah.
It's a Greek god. A lot of ships and boats and things are named after Greek gods for some reason. I don't know why.
And Roman
gods
too. Yeah.
Huh?
But yeah,
I'm not Roman.
no,
Nor are you.
no. I'm half Greek and half
Michigan. You're from Michigan.
Yeah.
Like a baseball glove. It looks like a baseball glove.
It looks like a mitt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Were you in the thumb or the mitt portion?
I was in the thumb.
Oh, you
in the bottom of the thumb.
You were.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. And you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Detroit Taggers.
Mm-hmm.
You know them well.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see if we get
my listening audience out there. Frank has done some intense spring training with the Detroit Taggers. In fact,
about
I've
20
got
years ago.
I've got a picture hanging up on my bedroom wall of Frank in official garb.
Yeah.
And he was there and trained with all the players. I mean, you saw quite a few, met him.
Right.
And
right.
he had quite a fastball.
Well, I don't know about
what was your marquee pitch?
My drop curve.
Drop curve.
Yeah.
And you were a pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about Frank. And
yeah.
Frank's a great guy. And he was actually at my Christmas party this year for Crown Car Care. We had a Christmas party at
Thank you for the invite. Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And for all our new listeners, Crown Car Care is a business here in Martin County that has 2 automobile and truck repair shops. If you're wondering what we do, we maintain vehicles, we sell tires, we do alignments, we fix air conditioning, we tune up air conditioning, we tune up cars, we tune up trucks, we tune up diesels, we tune up pretty much anything that has wheels and is legal for the road, to be honest with you. And now we're going to be getting into Teslas. Our shops are known for our hybrid maintenance and repair. In fact, at one shop, I have a GMC Yukon hybrid that I just put a new battery pack in and programmed it all. GMC Yukon SUV. Very rare, but quite good, actually. Get pretty good, about 25 miles to the gallon for a big rig.
Yeah.
And it's a true hybrid. Has a special transmission with 2 electric 3-phase motors, and it has a gigantic battery pack underneath the second row of seats in the back.
Okay.
And
I was just going to ask you.
Yeah, second row, it's huge. It's huge. 600 volts. Very expensive. We replaced that. And of course, when you replace a battery, it's not just as simple as putting the battery in. There's all kinds of module programming and identifications you have to do. And we got that done. And actually, at my shop on Cove Road, we have 2 shops, one in Palm City, one in almost in Hope Sound off Cove Road, the ocean side, about halfway down. We have a Prius with 3 bad cells in the battery pack. Now, sometimes I will fix the battery packs themselves and replace the individual cells on the inside. But on this one, it had higher mileage, and we felt it was a better move for the customer because they wanted to keep it, that we replaced the whole unit.
Yeah.
That was... Just for numbers, just so you know out there, the battery pack, I believe, was $3,000 for the Prius, and the battery pack for the GMC Yukon, if you can believe it, was $2,500, a little bit cheaper and bigger. So just don't know if it's supply and demand or what it is, but it was cheaper.
Wow.
So interesting, right? Bigger battery, but cheaper. Bigger battery, but cheaper.
Wow.
The Prius battery is located behind the back seat, underneath the deck in the back for like stowage and cargo, because the Prius is a hatchback. So
yes.
All the seats fold down, but the battery's underneath it. There are cooling fans that cool the battery, and one of the processes when you replace a battery on a hybrid is you always want to make sure the filters and the fan work.
Yes.
because you can cut down the life of the battery tremendously by not having a good airflow and circulation. Now, some newer hybrids and even some of the older ones, the Leaf was the first liquid cooled, that as well as the Volt by
Mhm.
Chevy.
Mhm.
Now, the Volt battery, we're talking about battery packs, and the title of my show is Nothing Lasts Forever.
Yeah.
And battery packs are one of them.
Yes.
Nothing lasts forever.
That's right.
That's right, except memories. Good memories last forever, don't they, Frank?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many memories have you and I had?
Oof.
We've been doing a radio show for years, and I've known you for years, haven't I?
Indeed.
I missed you today at the breakfast.
Yeah. I was the cleanup crew.
Our gal over there was a little late to open the doors.
Oh,
In
was
fact,
she? Yeah.
Sam had to open the doors for us.
Yeah.
She was all there, but I guess maybe she just was waiting. You know, us early birds.
Right. Right.
It's a business group that I belong to, and Frank is involved with the venue that we where we have it.
Mhm.
And many times I'll see Frank not only on the radio, but I'll see him in the mornings on Wednesdays. And
Yeah.
it's nice to see it because we know the coffee's always good and the orange juice is always cold there, and the doors are always welcome and the chairs are always warm. He always does a great job with us over at the Flagler Center.
Mhm.
And if anyone's looking for a party rental or anything like that, Flagler Center is a great place to have it in
Yeah.
downtown Stuart.
Really is.
Beautiful view of the water. Prices are quite reasonable. In fact, if you are interested in anything like that, you can always call the radio show. Frank can get you to the right people, but I highly recommend it. And I don't recommend a lot of things on the radio, if you noticed.
That's
If you
true.
listen to me, I don't push a lot of name brand stuff, but the Flagler Center is a little gem that we have here in Martin County, downtown Stuart, and it's just a wonderful building, and there's quite a history.
Yes.
I believe it was
80-year-old history.
I believe it had something to do with World War II.
Yes.
I believe it had something to do with Jonathan Dickinson State Park.
Only indirectly. So the officers always are looking for a place for R&R.
Mhm.
So the USO wanted to build them a dance hall, and so that was a USO project that was built for during World War II in 1943, and so about 80 years ago, 81 now coming
Quite
out.
old.
Yep. And it's just beautiful construction.
Yes.
And then they turned it over to Martin City of Stuart.
And didn't Masterpiece Builders
They were
rebuilt it or redecorated it or revamped it or did something?
They did some work. Well, actually, they did some work with the Stuart Heritage Building.
Because it's a historical landmark, if I'm
Right.
not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know if if it isn't, it ought to be, but it certainly is a landmark. No
And you've
doubt.
done a lot of updating and painting there. Yes, right?
Yes.
Your painting expertise and history has come into play there.
Yes. Yeah. And it did work.
It did because you know
worked out.
paints. If anyone needs paint questions, if you run into Frank on the street, he talks paint.
I do.
He does. He knows everything about paint. I'm telling you, he knows the paint business.
Well, like cars.
Why
I know.
do you ask? Because Frank was in that business.
That's right.
He had Vandy, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Paint. And
Mhm.
that was when you were the real estate mogul down in
Right.
downtown Stuart. He owned half a city block. He owned all the buildings, and he was a landlord king.
Mm.
Slumlord is what you were. You were renting everybody. You had businesses downstairs and tenants upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had I didn't know you then, Frank.
Yeah.
But in fact, we're right in your neck of the woods where you were.
We are.
You were I think of this big, long hooded Cadillac, and Frank shows up and has his
Right.
hand out wanting to
Right.
rent.
Right.
That's my envision.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Right. I mean, you had owned a restaurant. I mean, you owned the building, a restaurant, a hair salon. You had all kinds of businesses.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
So you probably learned. I mean, just knowing the other people's
I learned-
business.
I learned a lot about property management, and and I learned how to fix toilets.
And he learned, at the same time, he was a one-armed paper hanger. He sold wallpaper.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about that. That
Yeah.
there was different types. I know we're getting off topic, but you know
That's-
what? We have fun when we
we do.
talk, and
We do.
I think everybody that listens to our show, and there's quite a few that do, from what I've heard, we have fun.
We
That's all
do.
I can say is
We
it's
do.
enjoyable.
So a couple of things before we go to break. Cummins agrees to a U.S. record $2 billion Ram engine emissions settlement.
I have details on that. Would you like to talk about? Not after the break. I will
Okay.
give you the skinny on that.
I would love to.
I have the truth on it. Not that the media hasn't reported the truth, but they haven't said all of the truth.
Right.
and I'm going to give you the rest of the story,
All right, I like
as
that.
Paul Harvey would say.
Yes, yes. The UAW says Mercedes plant in Alabama reaches a key organizing milestone. So there's Mercedes now coming out of there.
They are moving manufacturing back home, and I think it's good. It's
Well, Mercedes has never been here.
never, but they're since
It's getting to look more.
a big push. And we don't, if you've noticed, we never talk politics. A previous president was a big pusher of bringing manufacturing home. It was the man that we have before who we have now.
Correct.
And I think some of this is the effects of it coming home.
I think some of it is the effects of all the governmental regulations in Europe for vehicles, making it more difficult for them.
Oh, yeah. And the exit, we now have stronger tariffs in our countries for importers of things. I don't know if the automobile industry has an effect of that, but I do know that it is becoming advantageous to be in the United States.
Right.
Let's take a break.
Okay, fair enough. Let's do that. And we'll be right back, so stick with us.
Service and repair at 772-781-8000 or stop by Crown Car Care, Martin Highway in Palm City or Cove Road in Stewart. Crown Car Care in Palm City and Stewart and Jasper Engines and Transmissions offer a cost-effective solution to your present engine or transmission trouble. Avoid a costly new car purchase or high lease payments by putting new life into your present vehicle. Let Crown Car Care install a Jasper remanufactured engine or transmission with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide warranty and available premium service plan. Call Crown Car Care 772-781-8000. That's 772-781-8000.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jupiter, and Indiantown, Martin County's Heritage Station.
All right, we're back. Ashbury Automotive will test T-Con's DMS platform. Do you know what that is?
No.
I don't either.
No.
So that's must be an other country brand.
Before I talk about this fine that was imposed upon Cummins,
yes,
I'm going to, and you may not. Well, I read something, and we may have to report on it next week because I don't have much details. But there is supposed to be a new combination. It does have lithium in it for battery that's come out of China that has something like twice the energy density, and its charge time is at max 15 minutes from 20 to 80%. It's like a game changer, and it's a word that they used. It's a company. It's a funny name. I can't think of it, but it is doable technology. It's not pie in the sky stuff that we hear about. We hear about these solid state ones. Right. It's great to talk about, but I've yet to see the product.
Right.
This apparently is a real product. Which, can you imagine the range going 500 to 600 miles on one charge, and it recharges in 10 minutes or 15 minutes? That's absolutely turns the world upside down on everything.
A game changer.
I mean, more than it's completely changes everything.
Right.
Everything.
Right. Right. So let's talk
about Cummins. Cummins is a company that manufactures. It's strictly an engine manufacturer. I'm sure that there's been other things they've made, but they're an engine manufacturer, diesel.
Right.
And been around a long time. I believe it was or is a family-owned business. It's
out of Detroit area.
American company. It's held to its roots of what it was originally to what it is today. They're known for their 6.7, and this is what this story is about: 6.7 straight six. So all 6 cylinders are in a big long row.
Right.
That is put in many commercial vehicles, but the one that they're talking about and that you as the consumer or general public would know about would be the ones that are sold in Dodge.
Okay.
The Dodge Ram. And as we all know, Dodge Ram is different than Chrysler. It's a different company.
Right.
It was split up, and it's a separate group of shareholders. So that's interesting. But they're sold at the Dodge dealer, but it's a separate company, the Dodge Ram.
Got it.
Dodge Ram.
All right.
Okay, so let's set the background. We're coming out of COVID, lockdowns and supply chain issues, and let's say that you're a manufacturer.
All right.
And you design engines, for example, Cummins, and you don't make everything. You design things, you cast the block, many of the things you do make as, for example, Cummins, but many things you have standards and blueprints and requests that are outsourced to different, like a tier 3 or tier 1 or tier 2 automotive supply manufacturer. You would outsource to another company.
All right.
Okay. And that company would say make NOx sensors. And I happen to be talking about this case, NOx,
Right.
which measures the nitrous oxides
Mm-hmm.
before and after a SCR treatment system.
So what is-
SCR treatment system stands for selective catalyst reduction. And what that is a device that uses basically ammonia water, URI, or pig blank,
Okay.
they call it, because it smells like ammonia,
Mm.
looks like ammonia,
Mm.
and we all know what ammonia is.
Yeah.
And we all have ammonia that comes out of us.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's why they call it pig blank.
Right. And the word URI would give you another
Indication of what
yeah.
word we're talking about.
Correct.
This fluid is used, injected into the system, which creates a chemical reaction which reduces nitrous oxides. Nitrous oxides are a byproduct of high heat and the combustion process, which we know diesels do. Diesels don't have spark plugs; they have glow plugs, and they only use glow plugs when the air is cold outside to initially start the vehicle. A diesel is almost like a self-perpetuating machine. It uses the heat of combustion and the heat of compression to continue the cycle, the 4-cycle process of intake, compression, power, exhaust. It doesn't have an external source of ignition. It self-combusts. And one of those byproducts are nitrous oxides. This whole case is about excessive emissions due to lack of supply of nitrous oxide sensors. So if we can't get nitrous oxide sensors, and that is critical for the engine, it's critical to be able to sell the motor with a nitrous oxide sensor on there. What would you do as a manufacturer, Frank, if you had a team of engineers and they said brainstorm people here? It's our company existence is on the line here. If we know that we can't get nitrous oxide sensors or NOx sensors, and they're pricey,
Right.
they're unique, specifically designed for applications. If we can't get them, and one engineer raises his hand and says, Mr. Cummins, we have all this data from the last 10 years that we've been using nitrous oxide sensors, and we can almost tell you at any speed, at any engine load, we can tell you how much we need to inject into that catalyst without having to have a sensor there. And they thought about it. And then Mr. Cummins asked the young engineer, well, is it going to change emissions? No, he says. We're just going to use an algorithm. But it's all based off of fact. It's all based off of previous data that we've.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't have the sensor, but we're using a software to take the conditions that are from other sensors like speed, load, engine outside air temperature, and we can pretty much determine how much of that pig blank we need to inject into that system. And I'll think about it for a minute. Put together a plan for me. I like your idea, son. And that's what they did. And they got trouble for it because they called it a cheating device because the sensor wasn't there. That's the facts. That's the backstory
So
on
they
that.
really didn't do anything wrong.
There was no malfeasance involved in
Right,
this. There
they
was
just did
nothing.
a-
That wasn't like what Volkswagen did.
It was a workaround.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. And they
Yeah.
will probably win on appeal
Right.
because it's a stinky deal for an American company that was just using their ingenuity and science to get around a supply issue.
Right.
That's all it was.
Yeah. Just taking known factors and
They
extrapolating.
didn't cheat.
Right.
They just didn't have the sensor there.
Right.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's
that's the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say.
I like that. That's a great story.
And you spontaneously asked me that question, and we didn't prepare for this, did we?
No, we
We didn't. I just knew it
I
because I had
love-
read it recently,
Isn't that great?
and I knew the facts on it.
I love
So
it.
it's nice when you know the facts on something, and
Yeah.
we can report where there's actually possibly a good ending on this.
Right.
Did Volkswagen do what was due? Absolutely, they cheated.
Yeah.
Play fair,
Right.
play honest, and do it right.
Yeah.
Which we do at Crown Car Care.
Hmm.
Am I perfect? No. Do we make mistakes? If I say no, you know I'm lying to you. We all make mistakes.
Part of the human element.
Things happen.
Right.
But when things happen, when you're a good business like Crown Car Care, we make it seamless. We fix things. Not only do we fix your car, but if there's ever a mistake or a boo-boo or something out of the ordinary happens, if I forget to call you, it's a day late, we make good on it. And that's the true count of a good business.
Right.
That's how you know you're in a good place. And I tell you, coming to Crown Car Care, I've owned it for years. In fact, I started the company with my own hands on Bruner Terrace in Palm City, Florida, 18 years ago. It's still the same as it was then. Everybody cares. Everybody listens. We ask the right questions, and we tell you the truth. And telling you the truth is everything.
Right.
It's everything in life.
Knowledge is power, and
It is.
and the
It
truth that is coincides with that.
If you like my radio show, if you like how I talk, if you like, we can't say how I look unless you go on YouTube and see my video. But if you like what you hear
Yeah.
and you kind of like my style, you're going to love my business because it's the same.
Mhm.
My influences go throughout my business at my two locations. Faces may change. You may see a different employee here and there. Things change in life.
Right.
Because what's the title of this show? Nothing lasts forever,
Right.
except the good work at Crown Car Care and memories.
There
Those
it
are
is.
the only two things that last forever.
Yeah.
As long as I'm walking on this earth,
There it is.
Crown Car Care will stand true to its origins and what we do, and we take pride in it. In fact, that's why I do a radio show. And we're successful because of one thing. We care.
Yeah.
If you care, you'll get it done. Another thing that doesn't last forever, and I'll talk about it on a vehicle, is just about everything that's on a vehicle doesn't last forever, Frank.
Hmm.
It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't.
Planned-
Paint doesn't last forever.
Planned obsolescence.
Paint doesn't last. I'll tell you a couple things that don't last on engines, and you need to look at it at some point in car ownership is spark plugs.
Yeah.
They do not last forever.
No.
And it can affect fuel mileage. It can affect how it runs. And I'll tell you, if you got spark plugs on your mind, give me a call. We'll get your car in there. We'll look at your spark plugs and see if you need new ones. It's an easy job, depending on the engine. Most jobs are fairly reasonable and easy. I can't tell you the exact price until I know the vehicle and the engine size. But I'll tell you, doing spark plugs isn't a bad idea.
Yeah.
Springtime, spring's around the corner. Do some spark plugs. We'll check your air filter. Maybe if you have a fuel filter, we'll look at that and change it. And we'll freshen up your motor so it's running tip-top shape and you're getting top mileage. How about that? Come to Crown Car Care. 2 locations. We have one in Palm City and one on Cove Road. And we're just itching to put spark plugs in cars. Springtime.
Yeah. Spring cleaning.
A spring spark. There's a spark in the air and it's spark plugs.
Put a spark in your life.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. Most people do not change spark plugs or even look at them anymore. They think they're forever. And
Yeah.
they're not. It's
No.
not forever. It's not forever.
Well, in the 60s,
You did it every 10, 15,000 miles, 20,000 miles. You do spark plugs and a tune-up.
you remember the gapping tool?
I do. I have many of them. We still gap them. They're still gapped. You still have to gap
Yeah.
them. And it matters.
I-
That's
I-
the distance that the spark jumps across the center electrode and the well, I guess it'd be anode and electrode that
Right.
wraps around it.
Right.
Yeah.
I had one. It was made by AC,
Yes.
same people that made the spark plugs.
I may have one with that. I
It's a
may have
circular
I,
one, right?
I may have to bring it in.
Yeah. I gave it to my son.
Absolutely. I bet
Yeah.
that gapped a lot of spark plugs because you've done a lot of work on
Right.
your own cars.
Mm,
In fact, you had a Chevy
Chevy-
Nova, wasn't it? Or
I
no,
had a Chevy Malibu.
a Malibu. Big car.
Malibu Classic.
What color was it?
Midnight blue.
Oh, that's a pretty color. Yeah. John, who has been our guest on the radio show,
Mm.
that's had his own show, John from European Kitchen and Bath. What a great place that is, too, over there on Monterey Road.
Mhm.
Another place I'll push.
Yeah.
They are just, there's people dying to get in there.
Yeah.
And why am I saying that,
I
Frank?
don't know.
Because there's a graveyard right
Oh,
next door.
That's it.
There's a graveyard next door to it.
Ah.
It's by the big sign, that big electric sign that you see when you come down that road. What is it? Canner Highway. Some
Mhm.
call it the gateway to Stewart. And Stewart's the sailfish capital of the world, Frank.
It is
Fishing.
indeed.
We sometimes forget that we are on the ocean, and there's a maritime and there's a nautical business that is huge here.
Yeah.
I don't fish that much, but I'm going to tell you, there is a lot of fishing going
I
on
know.
here.
I gotta do go on one of those.
Yeah, I like to catch some fish.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'd like to catch some fish. I wouldn't mind getting a dolphin or a mahi-mahi, one of them beautiful ones, and we'll flay that thing up and have some nice steaks.
Yeah.
Fresh fish.
Nothing like it.
I know it. Let's take a break and come back.
All right. Our last time out. So stick with us. We have more to cover when we return. Stick with us.
Hi, this is Tamara from Crown Car Care. Get help and advice from our expert master mechanic and owner, Todd Harris, by listening to Crown Car Care Talk on WSTU. Call us at 772-781-8000 or visit us online at crowncarcare.net.
Join the program every Wednesday evening at 5 p.m. or stop by Crown Car Care, Martin Highway in Palm City or Cove Road in Stewart.
As a family-owned business for over 15 years, Crown Car Care's top priority is to build relationships with customers while keeping their vehicles safe and dependable. Fixing your car right the first time is their passion and mission. Crown has the skilled master mechanics and business know-how that will put a smile on your face without putting a dent in your wallet. Call Crown Car Care for the finest in automotive service and repair at 772-781-8000
or stop by Crown Car Care, Martin Highway in Palm City or Cove Road in Stewart.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jupiter, and Indiantown, Martin County's Heritage Station.
All right, we're back. So there was I sent this to you, and I know you were at work, so you were busy.
Well, we
But-
think I was busy, but today I was.
Yeah. Well, so there is a video that's circulating on the internet right now
Uh-huh.
about a Cybertruck that's stuck in the snow.
Oh, please elaborate. I'm interested.
So there are all these negative Nancys that are out
There
there.
are a lot of people negative on this Cybertruck, and I can't
Right.
figure out why. But
Right. But, well, yeah, there's just.
I know our guest last week that had the Rivian thought the Cybertruck was just god awful ugly.
Yeah.
But
Right.
that's it's opinion.
Absolutely. It's.
he's stuck. All right.
So, here's my take on it. This guy does a drive-by with his cell phone as he's driving by this. It appears as though the Cybertruck is stuck in the snow, and this guy drives
Okay.
by and takes a video of him. So you only get a few seconds of it in passing. And the Cybertruck is backing forward and as you do, trying to rock yourself out,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Okay. So no more information is other than somebody's having a good laugh.
Which is what this whole thing sounds like from the outtake.
Right. So this is just my unprofessional.
Frankie, I'm going
opinion.
to tell you, your opinions over the years have always been spot on.
Okay.
They have been. I've not yet seen one that isn't.
Thank you. Thank you for
Well,
that.
that's the facts, Frank.
So I could be wrong, but this
I
is,
don't think so, but go ahead.
I'm guessing that
I know you are, but you're right.
They when they ordered this car, they didn't get the multi-motor.
That's
wheel
correct.
package.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's going to get stuck.
Right.
And if you say that there's a product deficiency, it wasn't designed to be that way.
Right.
And this is the whole thing.
Right.
You're spot on.
Yeah.
Because there's 3 iterations of that vehicle, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Yes.
And there's a tri-motor one, which is what that probably isn't.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the true 4-wheel drive.
Right.
Okay? If this thing isn't 4-wheel drive, I don't care what car it is. It's good.
Good.
Do you remember the Chevy Chevette?
Yes, I used to own one.
You did?
Yes.
That's a great car. Great car.
Yeah.
I actually liked them.
I liked it too.
Chevy Chevette.
Yes. It was supposed to get
What color was that one?
It was a robin's egg blue.
Oh, that's a pretty blue.
Yeah.
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 Chevette.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me something about your Chevette that
Well,
we didn't know.
I bought it because it was supposed to, because right in 1976,
Which is the year that we were talking about our Mustang 2 here.
right. So we were worried about the cost of gasoline.
Fuel was expensive and it was hard to get.
And it was supposed to give me about 40 miles to the gallon.
Did it get?
No, not even
Oh,
close.
really?
Not even 28, 32.
Because that was a fairly
Yeah.
light car, fairly
Yes.
compact.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, performance wise, everything about the car was
It's
fine.
nice, right? Because
but-
they weren't a bad vehicle.
No, nothing.
Not like the Vega that they tried. You've heard of the Vega.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I didn't do that. But the Chevette, but it turns out it just,
It didn't get the mileage that you had hoped or thought you were going to get.
correct. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But that was the only
But
thing.
really, no mechanical or no
No
drivability or no issues.
deficiencies with the but it was a good car.
Yeah. So the Cybertruck, I don't think it's advertised that it's actually an off-road vehicle. I think you can get one that can have off-road capabilities, just like I can buy a car that has 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive.
Right.
If I buy a vehicle that's just 2-wheel drive, I could get stuck in the snow.
Right. So this is an example where somebody is correct factually and wrong all at the same breath.
Yes. And yes, very interesting.
Yeah. And so much of the news, unfortunately, is reported that way.
Wonder if I'll see a Cybertruck up there.
Oh, I would hope so.
I hope so. I'll take
Yeah. Maybe you
pictures.
get a chance to bring one back home.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I just can't go through snow because
No.
apparently you said they get stuck.
You can't buy the
You
single
can't-
motor.
Yeah, you said they get stuck.
The single motor.
I don't have to get a hotel room coming home. I could sleep in it. They have a tent, don't they? Isn't there a tent that you can buy?
It's an accessory. You can order it.
Yes. There was another vehicle that had a tent. It was sold by Pontiac. I can't think of the vehicle. That square looking thing, a Pontiac. It was out and everyone considered it ugly. It was boxy looking.
Oh,
and-
right. Yeah.
We'll think of it in a minute.
Yeah.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
But yeah, the Rivian that we drove, we forgot to mention, and John mentioned it to me later in passing, that the comes with the 110 outlets in the bed,
Oh,
of the
okay.
truck.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I don't think we mentioned that.
and the same is available with the Cybertruck.
You know what I really liked about that Rivian? I liked there was like was it orange accents that were all over it that I thought were really
Yes.
sharp looking.
Mm-hmm.
Subtle, but sharp. I just liked it. A lot of the hardware that was on a Rivian appeared to me to be well thought out and high quality.
Mm-hmm.
You probably did. And the fit and
Mhm.
finish was wonderful on it.
Yeah.
The interior was.
And when you close the door, it sounded good.
Yeah, I would really say that it's a nice vehicle.
Yeah.
I don't recall the range. He said it was around 300, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Fairly decent. He's loved it.
Yeah.
His wife has a Tesla. I know that it was. Then he sold his other one to a buddy of his.
Correct.
Yeah, that was a good story. He was a good guest.
Yes.
He was a good talker. He was sincere and honest, and he really gave us.
And a local business guy.
And he gave us
Yeah.
information that normally we have to extract out of people.
Right.
We didn't have to extract anything. All we had to do was give him pose him a question, and he really elaborated at the level we wanted without even having to pursue it.
Right.
That's what I enjoyed about him as a guest.
Yeah.
And we met in the parking lot. It was a parking lot deal to start with, right?
It
It was.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I used to work at the full serve gas station, at least twice a month, people would come in vans and like long overcoats, and they would want to sell you stuff.
Right.
I don't if it was a fake Rolex watch or stereo speakers. Oh, I just got a hold of. They just went out of business, and I've got all kinds of stuff for sale. And they'd
Right.
open the van
Just
door
sell
up,
out of the truck.
and they open the van door, and there was speakers and all this stuff, and they try to hustle you into buying it.
Yeah.
It was a regular on a Saturday. You'd get these people coming in and selling stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I usually got roped in. I always bought some of this stuff because I was a sucker for everything At least those gimmicky things.
For a deal.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
So what else doesn't last forever, Frank, in a car? I'll tell you what doesn't is a cabin air filter.
Oh, yeah.
They don't last forever.
No.
And I'm going to tell you, as we know we had to wear masks when COVID was around. Well, I'm going to tell you, do you want to breathe some of this air outside?
Yeah, probably not.
They make different levels of cabin filters.
Yes, they do.
And you know who sells them and installs them? Crown Car Care, your neighborhood repair shop. We have 2 locations, one in Palm City and one in Stuart. And we would love to change your spark plugs, and we would love to inspect and change out your cabin air filter. Why, we say? Because nothing lasts forever.
Exactly. And probably when you get an oil change is a good time to inquire.
Yes. When you get an oil change, we're going to inspect your cabin filter as part of the process, but we aren't going to be able to check your spark plugs unless they're real easy and you ask us.
Right.
Because it's just not part of my, inspection process. It's not that I'm not doing it. It's just not.
No.
Just like I don't take out, it's not like I don't take your brakes apart and look at the inside of the brake pad. I can visually look at them. I can take the wheels off and inspect them, but there's certain things we do and don't do.
Well, I'm amazed about the way the Honda engine in the engine bay presents itself, because it's got all these engine coverings.
Yes,
over
it does. Some of that is for sound as well.
It is. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And
right.
if you flip those covers over, a lot of them will have like a hard foam insulation on top of the plastic cover, and it does make it attractive.
Right. It cleans up the look in the engine
Yes,
bay.
it does, but it also is sound. It really is.
But then you got to remove all that stuff just to get to the spark plugs.
Yeah. Wonder, Honda started, I believe, with bicycles, didn't they? Or it was a bicycle company, I believe, to start. I think I'm right.
Maybe. And then I think they switched to lawnmower engines.
Yeah.
You know their backstory on the lawnmower engine, don't you?
No.
So Briggs and Stratton used to make the industry.
They still do.
Right.
That was the gold standard.
The gold standard. And so the folks at Honda bought a Briggs and Stratton engine, took it to Japan,
took it apart,
broke it down, looked at it, and they go, we could do this. And not only did they make it, but they found deficiencies.
And they made some improvements.
And they improved it.
Yeah. Their motors are refined. Their motors are known to be quiet. In fact, their generators are the gold standard of generators today.
Right.
If you have a Honda generator, that means you spent a lot of money on a generator.
Right. I used to
sell. You did, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I used to sell pressure cleaning equipment.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, with your paint, Vandy paints.
Correct. And so a lot of the equipment I sold, was gas powered. And so when it came with a Honda engine, I knew I was selling a reliable product to my customers.
You know what I'd like to do in the upcoming weeks? For half of our show, we're going to do a time travel experiment. I am going to interview you as if you still own Vandy paints, and we're going to talk like it was in the 80s.
Okay.
Fair enough. And I'm going to, that's the era that we're in. We're going
to
travel back in time.
Yeah.
You're going to be interviewed at obviously the business sold, and he's not in business anymore. He's a radio host, and thank God, because I wouldn't know him. But we're going to pretend that it's then.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you questions about paint and your business, and I think it'll be fun.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can't talk, the president of the United States was then.
Right.
What happened, you can't use today's stuff as statements and comparisons. It has to be just.
Have to stay in character for the time period.
I want you to be in character.
Okay.
Fair enough. And I think we'll have a lot of fun with it.
All right. Yeah. Good. We got another, 4.5 minutes.
Tell me another thing, Frank, that doesn't last forever on a car.
Tires.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Good point. And they do not last forever. And there are some factors that need to come into play, especially where we live here in Martin County. And I'll tell you why. We have a tremendously large retirement communities, and we have people that are elderly that own vehicles that still drive, but they don't drive them that much. They don't put a lot of miles on them. So the cars could be in mint condition
on the outside.
On the outside.
Yeah.
And one thing I can tell you that's almost as dangerous as a bald tire is a date-coated old tire that's starting to get dry rot because they can blow out.
Yeah.
and they can literally disintegrate. Kaboom.
Yeah.
All the cords come out. And that's one thing that you really need to be mindful of and keep an eye on. Because like we say, nothing lasts forever, and tires don't last forever. Not just from wear, though.
Right.
From just environmental exposure to the heat, to the sun, to whatever things are in our air degrade and make those tires actually unsafe, even though the tread could be like new.
Yeah.
And how do you know this? Because every tire made has a date code on it. You know that, Frank. And you can just you can decode it. And if you're curious about your tire, how old it is, and I'm going to tell you, it's that important that you know.
Yeah.
Especially if if you've owned your car a while and you're retired. And believe me, we have listeners, quite a few listeners that are retired folk that listen to our show, and they enjoy it. But they may have a car that could be 10 or 15 years old that on the surface looks like the tires are fine, but they might not be. Swing by one of our shops, and we'd be glad to take a look at those date codes and decode it for you and tell you when they were made. It's identified by the week.
Okay.
52 weeks, and then the year. That's just a little hint. If you have any other questions, give us a call. You know our number, Frank, 772-781-8000. It rolls off your tongue.
It does.
It does, and I don't know how I got the number, but I've had people try to buy it from me.
Really?
Called on the phone, want to buy it. A lot of money. I don't know what the number was, $5,000 or $6,000. They wanted to buy it for me. But I can't sell Crown Car Care's phone number.
No.
How are the people going to call me? Everybody knows me, Crown Todd by 781-8000.
That's right.
And they know Crown Todd. That's me.
All right. We're going to be out of here.
Great. Remember, in the next coming weeks, Frank's going to be in character.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye now.
It's going to be fun, that thing.
It's clear to me tonight that there isn't a path for me to win the nomination, which is why I'm suspending my campaign tonight for President of the United States.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie with the announcement at a town hall in New Hampshire. Christie has been the most vocal opponent for President Trump's candidacy.
I want to promise you this. I am going to make sure that in no way do I enable Donald Trump ever be president of the United States again.
The news from Christie coming just days before the Iowa caucuses, but there's another concern for candidates before Monday, the frigid weather and snow in the state.
Most of the caucus goers our teams have spoken to say they'll show up no matter the weather, but some of them are worried about other people not wanting to brave the extreme cold to caucus.
It's indoors. We're Iowans. We'll be there.
I definitely think it will impact people that are not passionate about their candidate.
We came here, didn't we? It can't get any worse than this.
If it's like today, that could be a problem. If it's just cold, I'm not worried about it.
On caucus day, it's possible temperatures won't get above 0 degrees the entire day. That would make it the coldest caucus day in decades, possibly ever.
Fox's Tracy Trimble in Des Moines. One person has died, another person injured after an avalanche roared through a ski resort near Lake Tahoe. The Placer County Sheriff's Department says the avalanche happened around 9:30 a.m. on steep slopes, which are used by skilled skiers and snowboarders. The House Oversight and Judiciary Committees have taken the first step toward holding Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress for defying a congressional subpoena, passing contempt charges against the president's son. America is listening to Fox